October the 17th, 2023. As you're looking at a tragic image in Gaza, they're saying that reports of 500 dead and injured in a hospital bombing. Now, the Israeli Defense Forces are saying it was due to a failed Hamas rocket. And there's a video. I can't play it here, but I will put a link to this article. As you scroll down and read, you'll see different Twitter links. But they're saying Hezbollah involvement is inevitable. That's the group from the northern parts up near Golan, where Israel was evacuating 70,000 people, 28 settlements. And they were pretty much doing that because they knew that Syria and Hezbollah would about to get involved and push into the northern sector. Many had said that they were waiting to see how Israel continued the attack into the Gaza Strip. Now, the IDF says it's a failed Hamas rocket. Hamas says it was not theirs, and that the hospital guys there had been warned by Israel to evacuate personnel earlier. But the video that I saw, I've seen nothing like that type of rocket, that large. You're looking at a picture of it here from Hamas. Usually, they may blow the side of a building, a hole in it, or blow a hole in the road or something like that with their smaller rockets. But this thing came in very loud. You can hear it in the video. And then a lot of this reporting that was coming in as it was still burning. But it sounded like one rocket, much larger than what Hamas uses. Now, it may not have been the IDF, but they had warned personnel to leave that hospital. But you're dealing with 500 people dead, a lot more than that wounded. But they're saying that in the courtyard, in the outer areas of it, there were 5,000 people, guys, that were being displaced because of the forced movement out of northern Gaza down to the southern section. Continues, it says, nearly 500 people were killed and wounded when Gaza's Al-Ali Arabi Baptist Hospital was shelled today by the Israeli armed forces. This is coming from the Palestinian Enclave authorities. Now, this Baptist hospital, guys, has been there since the 1800s. It was way before Israel came back into the scene in the late 40s. And it was originally formed by the Southern Baptists out of the U.S. If the numbers are confirmed, the Hezbollah entry into the war is now a given. Israel attributes Gaza's hospital bombing to a failed Hamas rocket. Guys, if Hamas had this type rocket, Israel would have been dust long ago. Israeli Armed Forces spokesman Rear Admiral Hagari said reports of a hospital bombing in Gaza are being investigated. There are many false reports from Hamas, he emphasized, among other things. American network NBC News reported comments from a spokesman for the Israeli military who said the hospital struck today in Gaza was not a target. He continues, said a hospital is an extremely sensitive building and not a target for the IDF. The IDF is currently conducting an investigation and always prioritizes accuracy. We urge everyone to proceed with caution when passing on information about a terrorist organization. If the Israeli attack is confirmed, it would be by far the deadliest Israeli airstrike since 2008. Here's a video, guys. Again, you just come here to the link I put in, and it says a single munition whistling as it hits in the grounds of the hospital. And it was bigger than anything I've seen Hamas fire. Scenes of the massacre as a result of a Zionist regime airstrike on a hospital in Gaza. Now, guys, I'm not choosing sides here. I'm not choosing either way. I'm just reading this. But again, I have watched these Hamas rockets for years and years come over. And then there'll be a battle skirmish, and then it'll be quiet for a while. Nothing like this. They have no munitions like this. Either it was the IDF or the U.S. or some of the proxy people, possibly Iran, who's trying to get things motivated. It was a major power that had this rocket, though. As reported by Al Jazeera and The Guardian, the spokesman for the Gaza Ministry of Health said that 500 people were killed during the bombing. But it was at nighttime, guys. And so at first it was 200 people, then 300, then 500 killed, and then hundreds wounded. But remember, again, 5,000 people were trying to take shelter there in one form or the other. At the same time, as Al Jazeera reports, many of the injured are women and children. The hospital is in question housed families amid Israel's ongoing bombardment of Gaza, a new war crime committed by the occupation and the bombing of the hospital in the center of Gaza City, resulting in dozens of martyrs and wounded in the Al-Shifa medical complex due to the bombing. It should be noted that the hospital accommodated hundreds of patients injured and forcibly displaced from their homes due to the airstrikes. It is noted that the Israelis had also issued an ultimatum to the hospital staff to leave. Final letter that had been rejected by the hospital management and staff as there was no way to transport that many patients. They're saying the massacre at the hospital is unprecedented in our history. While we have witnessed tragedies in previous wars and days, but what took place tonight is tantamount to genocide. And this comes from Mahmoud Bassel, spokesman for the Palestinian Authority. According to Hassan Koff, medical director of the hospital, located just 1 kilometer away from the Al-Arab hospital, is still burning. The doctor told Al Jazeera that at this time, thousands of Palestinians have been injured and there's no safe place. They want to massacre Gaza. Says at the same time, the head of the pediatric clinic at the Kamal Adwan Hospital located in northern Gaza just a short time after the hospital was bombarded said that we are fighting to save injured children, pregnant mothers. Babies are born here. More than 200 bodies were taken to Sifa Hospital today, mostly women and children. He said they need to stop targeting us. Says 200 to 300 Palestinians have been murdered by the Israeli military after they bombed the hospital. He added that 500 casualties are still lying on the ground. Eyewitnesses reported that 5,000 Palestinians were seeking refuge inside the hospital. Israel hit the Arab Baptist Hospital in Gaza. According to Gazan officials, there are around 300 dead, more than 200 wounded. That was the first reports coming in. It says an Israeli airstrike may have caused significant casualties in Gaza City. In the hospital, it said local media reports of potentially dozens or hundreds of casualties in the courtyard of the hospital. Now, this just came in after that, and this is quoted from Israel. It says they're telling their embassy and the people there to leave Turkey immediately. The Israeli embassies in Ankara, Jordan, and other Arab countries are under siege. Chaos in the Middle East. We are seeing the beginning of this. We knew last night in that video that we were just moments away from something happening. And this looks like it was the trigger point that did it. It's just a shame that thousands of lives were affected. Now, I don't care whose side you're on in this battle. Whoever bombed the hospital will have a rough day in hell when they do that. You do not fool with God's children. I don't care what side you're on, you don't do that. Israel has called on its citizens to leave Turkey immediately as there are serious incidences against Israeli diplomatic missions around the world. In Jordan and Turkey, angry Muslims besiege the Israeli embassies and the consulates. Serious incidences are taking place in Amman, Jordan, where protesters stormed the compound of the Israeli embassy to express their anger after the attack that killed hundreds of people at the hospital in Gaza. The protesters bypassed the roadblock of the security forces and proceeded towards the embassy premises. Security forces used tear gas to disperse them. Iran, Iraq, and Lebanon, along with other Arab and Muslim countries, are declaring tomorrow a day of mourning. The Palestinians also rise up in the West Bank, where they demand a change of leadership and the removal of Abbas. Now, they want to be free of Hamas and the terrorists. They know that they're going to be the ones that pay the price when the Hamas group starts firing into Israel. But guys, a lot's going on, and pay attention to it. Everything's moving very quickly now. What will happen if some of the Israeli embassies are burned? Will they retaliate in those areas of Jordan? We don't know yet. Everything's moving very quickly. As the sun sets here, we're getting morning there in Israel. But guys, come here, watch some of these videos, and you'll see that it was a very tragic situation, regardless of who did it. But we're watching it. You watch it. It's a heads up. Be safe.